So many of us are going about our lives not even realizing that we are essentially living in this state of autopilot. We're waking up and repeating the same exact tasks and routines that we completed and did yesterday and the day before and the day before that and maybe the month before that and then the year before that. So many of us are in this state of essentially living in the matrix in that way, living on autopilot, and so much of it really is unconscious. So many of us don't even realize that we are living this way of repeating the same exact thing, not even realizing why we just did what we did. We don't even really know why we did that task or did that thing. And so much of it is, again, why I say is very unconscious. So I wanted to talk about that a little in today's video because it is actually very important to realize and to become conscious of, because if you don't realize it, it's going to be really hard to essentially deprogram your mind that you've been conditioned to have really from the ages of 0 to 7, from a really young age, as Bruce Lipton says, when we are in that state of theta and then shifting out of it. So much of it is, of course, from intense conditioning and from childhood and our upbringing and the school system and of course our family life, our home life, all of that. But I again felt like this was so important to talk about because I was in this state for so long myself of just intense autopilot living. I felt like I was going through life like a zombie. I was so unconscious, just waking up, going through the motions, and feeling very apathetic about life because I didn't even realize why I was waking up or why I was doing the things that I was doing. It was, again, so unconscious and so automatic and so repetitive, and so much of it was from past conditioning. I felt like I had to do that because that was what was ingrained in me and conditioned in me from such a young age. And I know so many of you guys can relate to that as well. So many of you guys can really understand what that feeling is like, but it's really not until we get a taste of what the true spiritual experience is all about that we really begin to awaken to the reality of that, and we really begin to desire to kind of break free from this kind of conditioning and pave a new path for ourselves and really break free from all of that fear and the conditioning. And of course it's very difficult to break free from. It's not easy. It's very challenging, and it of course is a little easier when you have some kind of community or support around you, but when you are doing it alone, it can be challenging. So that's why I wanted to share this information with you all today. So again, I kind of touched on what autopilot living is like. So much of it is automatic and repetitive and really unconscious. And that's why there is such a big overlap with this kind of matrix metaphor of living in the matrix, because so many of us don't even realize it. We are, again, unconscious to it, and it really holds us back from expanding, and it really limits our creativity and our ultimate realization of what we are truly here for, our true purpose, our inner and our outer purpose. So it stifles our creativity and our personal growth. And it's not until we actually break free from it that we can really truly make like substantial progress on this path. So feeling disconnected from your true purpose, an inability to really experience true deep joy, and not necessarily just excitement, because excitement can sometimes come from the ego and is short-lived, but true joy and true enthusiasm and just this inner feeling of aliveness when it comes to fulfilling your dharma and fulfilling your true unique purpose and path in this life. So an inability to surrender sometimes too, because when we can't surrender, oftentimes that is a sign of our disconnection from the divine. And really, it's again, all of this just, it holds us back in so many ways. So if you feel like you are experiencing any of those signs, then this is a surefire way to really determine that you are, again, just stuck in that autopilot feeling of just waking up and, having your morning coffee, which I need to make a video about, because that's also not really the most conscious way to start the day. And, doing your commute, going to work, coming home, like doing the same thing every day, because that's what you have been conditioned to believe that you have to do. If you feel like life just kind of happens to you and overall you lack introspection, then again, these are signs that you are kind of living in this kind of 3D mind matrix and living in this state of autopilot. So I kind of touched on the ages of 0 to 7 and how fundamental they are, and I share more about that on my blog, but this is something that Bruce Lipton talks about a lot, about how fundamental these ages are from from when we're born to about the age of 7, because our brainwaves are predominantly operating in what's known as theta, and this brainwave state is highly impressionable. And so if you had any kind of conditioning, which like we all had at that time, but if you had any kind of conditioning from maybe people who were more traditionally minded or unconscious on how life should be and how you should be living and how this is just the way things are, then you downloaded that from those ages, and therefore it just became so ingrained in you. And the older you got, and just the older we get, we shift into different brainwave states, and it then becomes a lot harder to kind of take on beliefs that we begin to really feel on a deep level, and even just like our cells really take in, and our subconscious mind and all that. So this is why a lot of it, again, is unconscious. We don't realize it because it all started from our childhood. So there are, of course, ways, if you are willing to do the deep inner work, to again reprogram the mind and reprogram the subconscious mind, because again, all of this is stored. All of these beliefs and impressions are a byproduct of the subconscious mind that was programmed from the ages of 0 to 7. There are ways to actually reprogram the subconscious mind and begin to break free from these kind of limiting beliefs, really, because that's what they are, and these mental constructs that honestly don't really serve us and become such a hindrance to our personal growth and development. And without like really getting into it, I really do feel like if more people kind of knew about this and awakened to this reality, there's the whole strength in numbers thing. And if more and more people were actually aware of it, then the systems that really shouldn't be, but that they are anyway, can begin to crumble slowly. But I don't think we're fully there yet. But of course, if you are here, I think it means that you are conscious and ready to hear this and to begin to do this inner work. And hopefully, as time progresses, more people can awaken to this reality and understand the importance of, again, really just essentially deprogramming the mind and breaking free from this 3D mind matrix, and again, not living on autopilot, not living quote unquote in the matrix, if you want to call it that, and through that something really beautiful can flourish and blossom, and we all begin to realize our true deep inner purpose and live our dharma, and everything will become much more harmonious. I really do feel that way. We can really live in sync with life instead of living in this state of resistance and constantly resisting the present moment and resisting the now. And that's, of course, another really big sign too, that many people are living in the state of autopilot and living in the matrix, really, because they are having a hard time accepting what's in front of them and not following those 3 modalities of awakened doing that I talk about a lot. So again, if you are more interested in diving into this work, I I work a lot with clients on how to kind of essentially decondition their minds in this way and do a lot of the inner work and reprogram the subconscious mind. Most of it is through dharmic healing modalities like yoga, Ayurveda, and Tantra. But I have some other offerings as well. So just kind of wanted to share that if you need some support. I do see many clients for this, and yeah, we're really able to really kind of go deep in this work. So I just kind of wanted to share that with you all. Hopefully it resonates, because it is something that I was just so heavily deep into, and it was so difficult for me to break out of, but I was able to make progress, slowly. And now I do really feel like I have understood the reasoning behind it all and the truth behind it all, and not only that, but then experienced what that is actually like actually experienced what that kind of true liberation, that inner spiritual liberation feels like when you break free from it all and become introspective and really again do that inner work, because it is so beautiful. And it's just truly one thing that if I can wish for anyone to have, anyone who's seeking to have, it would be this. It's this feeling of paving your own unique path and realizing that there is so much more to life and to everything that we have been programmed to believe and conditioned to think, again, from such a early age. Autopilot really does rob us of so much depth and vitality. We aren't able to really experience the fullness and the richness of life and all of what life really has to offer, because it really does have a lot to offer. And I know some people might say, oh, well, that's only if you are more well off, or like you have certain resources, but that's not necessarily true, because right now I'm sitting in nature and I'm breathing fresh air, and it's just so serene and peaceful. And it didn't really take much for me to do this, really. So I think it's something that most people really are able to experience and get a taste of. And it's not until we, again, do a lot of this work to reprogram the mind and to have just really this desire to live our true dharma that we can actually experience it. So some of the ways that you can right off the bat begin to kind of start to break free is by finding some kind of spiritual practice that you can actually stick with. That could be journaling. That could be journaling out certain beliefs and thoughts that you might have around how your life should be or could be, or anything like that. And really being as honest with yourself as possible. Even just being as present as you can, and noticing the kind of spaces in between your tasks and the kind of the stillness between your breath. I actually sometimes feel like just returning to my breath and focusing on the inhalation and the exhalation brings me back to the present moment. And the more present you are, truly the more present and still you are, the more you realize that kind of, again, 3D mind matrix begins to crumble, and you just become so much more rooted in awareness. And that is ultimately the key to, again, dissolving this state of mind. Life really becomes so much more joyful when we, again, awaken to this realization. It really does. I've seen it in so many people, and it is truly one of the most beautiful and freeing feelings to have and to experience. So that was it for today's video. I really hope it made sense. I just felt like it was really important to make. It's been something that has been really weighing on me a lot recently to share and to really explain. So let me know if you need any kind of support. Reach out to me. Again, I always do dharmic healing work. I have been giving out free discovery calls lately. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and book a session. And I do actually have an accompanying blog post on this topic on my website, on my blog, if you wanted to check that out. And that's it for today's video. So I hope you all have a really beautiful day. And this was and that this was something for you to reflect on and really just sit with yourself on. I will talk with you all soon. Bye.